for me, one for my Andrew, one for
Thank you.
Come on then. Okay, come on then.
Basic?
Okay, we don't have media as it was suggested, so we just have the people who are taking pictures.
Okay.
Three of the places for his speech.
If there is, I'll
Would you
try
like
to see what I
to have a t-shirt like this? Like have like next to like Serj?
Thanks for
This way, this way.
What is this? My name is Basic.
Aşağı Azaryan.
Aşkım. Günleriz. İsmet? Yok. Hardly.
Serj Tankian was born in Beirut and moved to Los Angeles at a young age. He's a singer, songwriter, composer, multi-instrumentalist, record producer, poet, and political activist, and an advocate for human rights. He's best known as the lead vocalist, songwriter, keyboardist for the internationally known rock band System of a Down, which was formed in 1994 by 4 Armenian American friends. In a recent interview on the National Public Radio of the United States, Serj explained his family background, and I paraphrase. My grandfather lost the majority of his family in the pogroms and ended up in an Armenian orphanage in Greece. American orphanage in Greece, and then in Lebanon. My grandmother on my mom's side and her grandmother were saved by a Turkish mayor who put his life on the line. My other grandparents were saved because there was this railway being built by a German company between Turkey and Baghdad. They worked on the railway, and that is how they survived. On August 2011, Serj Tankian was awarded the Armenian Prime Minister's Medal for his dedication and contribution to spread the word about Armenian genocide. Serj's wife and son Rumi live in New Zealand. Please join me in welcoming Serj Tankian to the American University of Armenia.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation and invitation. Thank you guys for being here today. I have not planned a speech because I loathe giving speeches. But I do like talking to people. I do like answering questions and sharing thoughts. And so I'm thankful to Hilda. Thank you, Armen. Thank you for the American University of Armenia for having me. And yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Hilda Gregorian is one of our faculty teaching courses in the business program. Many of our students here are her students, and from what I know, they love her. We love her too. And the idea of inviting Serj here was Hilda's idea, and she did all the background work, of course, with our communications department, Zara and her group. So I think
Thank you, Armen. Okay, Serj is here. Woo! All right, we're going to have a very intimate discussion. We have collected questions from the students. None of these questions has been censored. And I'm just going to ask you with the very first question. The series of questions will be first about genocide and then family and sort of like personal questions.
Chair. Yes, it is.
Okay. If you prefer one or the other.
Well, this is the only one working.
No, there you go. Okay, let's imagine we are in near and bright future where Turkey has already recognized the Armenian genocide. The President of the United States has pronounced the word genocide. UN has adopted a resolution condemning the Armenian genocide. What's next? What will be your reaction? What we as a nation should be doing next?
Well, that's with the assumption that all of those recognitions also entail some form of justice, reparations. If we're making that assumption, and we can heal from the trauma of genocide as a global Armenian community, then we can put the genocide aside.
Move forward.
Yes, to move forward. But without that, recognition means nothing to me. Honestly. Turkey recognizing, it's like, I always say, it's like someone coming and burning your house down, killing your family. For 100 years you're running after them, for them to turn around and go, okay, fine, I did it. What does that mean? Without justice, recognition is nothing. So with the presupposition that justice is attained, having to do with also recognition of the genocide, we can move on from that. What is there to remain? Well, genocide, and we've talked about this many times with many friends and journalists, genocide has become the defining factor of the Armenian character worldwide. That is a good thing and a bad thing. No culture, no people want to be known as victims forever. Eternally. We have a very old, amazing, gorgeous culture to share with the world. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the most important thing about nationalities, people, is their culture. Everything else is transient. Everything else changes. Borders change, leaders change, flags change, everything changes. The only thing that is beautiful about our differences of different people on the planet is our cultures. Our food, our dynamics, our music, our art, the way that we talk to each other, the way that we laugh. So I think, we continue with that around the world, in Armenia, in the diaspora, but also really focus on nation building here. Really focus on our rights, our institutions, our civic society, making Armenia what we all want it to be.
Well said. Thank you, Serj. One of the students had a very good comment about your movie, The Screamers. She said, you said that all of us should be screamers. Many people refer to the current situation in Armenia as white genocide. What do you think? In the situation of white genocide going on inside, will it be possible for us to produce a scream loud enough to awaken the outside world, which is mostly deep sleep when it comes to the issue of the recognition of Armenian genocide?
The question is a little confusing for me because white genocide means a number of things. White genocide, it could mean Turkey's continued denial of the genocide, leading us to always having to fight for justice. That's white genocide. But depopulation of the country in some ways is also white genocide. So which one are we talking about?
I think the white genocide in many ways, as far as I can see, it could be, I can interpret it as the mass migration of our youth, our brilliant youth, from the country.
So it's the latter. So in that case, screaming on the outside is not so much important as screaming on the inside. And trying to look inward within ourselves and within our country and within our countrymen to try to create a more just society, a more egalitarian society.
Basically, practicing the principles of Gandhi, if you want the change, be the change.
Yeah, obviously. And my favorite Gandhi statement is they asked him,
what he thought about Western civilization, and he said it was a good idea. He obviously didn't see the British troops on their soil as very civilized. So, look, we've got a lot of work to do. It's a 20-year-old, independent republic. A lot has been done that's great, this university being one of them. But there is a lot of work to do, and we can't shy away from it. We gotta, dig in our heels and bring up our, sleeves and get into it. And it's not gonna be pretty sometimes. But in the end, it's gonna be worth it. Fighting for justice is never easy in any country. Whether you're in the US and you have the right to say anything, or whether you're in Turkey and you don't have the right to say anything. There's brave souls everywhere, and we need to develop a system in this country where everyone has the opportunity to be able to do what their vision is without having to migrate. That said, I think we need to also, I've worked with TUMO for years, with Serj Tankian, and we need to work with the diaspora and Armenian community as Armenians in Armenia, and find opportunities where we can work together, stay here and work together with other diaspora and Armenians, organizations. That's already happening, and that's a really, an amazing progressive step as well, but we need to increase that,
And what would be your thoughts on increasing the diaspora community more into the education? That would be my question. Ever since I started teaching at AUA, I do believe the education is the core of rebuilding a strong nation. I do believe all and each one of us in this auditorium, or if we are given the resources, we can make mountains, we can move mountains. I believe in it, truly. How can we get the message to the diaspora to understand that this is the only way that we can rebuild the nation?
That's a really good question, and I understand exactly what you mean by that. The diaspora community is very well-intentioned, but very isolated from Armenia. Most Armenians that I speak to, friends of mine in Los Angeles, have no clue what's going on here. And that's a deep disconnect. There's so much press, Armenian TV stations in the States and all around the world, and I'm surprised how much of a disconnect there is. So the real question is, how do we connect these dots? You have a lot of speakers coming here from all over the world. That's an amazing way. What Sam Simonian is doing at TUMO is an amazing way, because he's got many, kind of speakers coming there. Not just speakers, but people interested in actually working with some of the students that are graduating into setting up, ventures, experimental or otherwise. It's about really connecting the dots, And I know a few filmmakers that have come to the US and, have been regarded really well because, again, they made a connection with the diaspora community there. We're doing it, but we need to do more of it, obviously.
One of the questions was, what motivated you to write songs about genocide?
I guess it's the same motivation as writing songs about anything else. It's, in terms of the genocide, it was the prevailing injustice. In other cases, it may be, an inspiration of another kind. It could be a forlorn, emotional experience. It could be just a funny time or a nice conversation with a friend that makes you think of something, and you go on that tip and you write something. But in terms of songs about genocide, it's the prevailing injustice.
I was going through I told you that you were a major motivator for my kids to wake up in the morning, right? So we had to wake up every morning. I couldn't get two boys to wake up and go to school, so I had to put the system of a down, wake up, and then, blast it for them. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And also, my son, would not let me to paint his room because he has it covered with System of a Down and your pictures. So thank you again for saving me lots of paint money. I was going through one of your lyrics, and I found this quite fascinating to me. I don't quite understand it. It's the lyrics from Occupied Tears. It says, don't you all know? Don't you all care? Don't you all see how this isn't fair? Are we all blind? Do we not see? Do we not bend to misery? Of course we all know. Of course we all care. Of course we all see how this isn't fair. We are not blind. Yes, we do see. It's time to end this misery. What was going on in your mind when you were writing this?
Generally, I like to keep lyrics pretty ambiguous so that people can infer whatever they want from it and create their own kind of psychological landscape to what the meaning is. And it means more to them than it would had I just spelled out what I was thinking of. Because to me, art has a more universal factor than what the artist intends. It comes from the universe, it comes from collective consciousness, and it's supposed to be shared in that way. I can tell you that I was deeply moved by Palestine's liberation struggle, and how in the United States, U.S. being one of the largest, contributors and supporters of the government of Israel, how Israel is acting with impunity, having to do with the occupied territories. And it's a really strong injustice that, again, is still prevailing and needs to change. And I've been very vocal about it on many fronts. So it really had a lot more to do with that. And just people seeing, those bombs falling over Gaza and children dying and not being able to do anything about it, or not doing anything about it, or walking away from it. How does one do that and still be a human being?
Right before we came in, we talked about the Armenian youth. One of my personal missions coming to Armenia was youth development, because I truly do believe that we have absolutely brilliant, vibrant, energetic, optimistic youth that there is, and I see them every day. And these are just a very small token of what is very special. We constantly preach about follow your dream, follow your passion, wake up in the morning. I tell my kids, if you have to grill a burger and work at the McDonald's, do it with a whistle, but follow your dream. Sky is not the limit for us, unfortunately, here. We have many limitations, very obstacles to overcome. One of the questions from one of our students was, what advice will you give to students, to us, to the young generation, to overcome the obstacles and follow their dream and passion in Armenia?
That's probably the toughest question on the list. Number one, because you and the student in mind, or the student that asked the question, has a way better understanding of the dynamics and the limitations of the country than I would. Number two, because a lot of those things are infrastructure based and will take time to change. But I do have to say one thing. I believe in vision. I believe in, dreaming about something, that where you want to end up, what you want to accomplish. And I consider it a two-step process. One is dreaming about it, and second is working toward it. By dreaming about it and not working toward it, you're not going to get it. By working toward it and it not being what it truly is, your vision, you're not going to get it either. So first, you need to have the inspiration of what it is that's going to make you happy when you wake up in the day. What excites you? If it's not coming to school, then don't come to school. If it's... Hey. I remember a teacher, when I was in university myself, one of our teachers said, however you want to study is how you should study. If you like taking a lot of notes, great. If you like reading the textbook, great. He goes, if you can pass my class with an A without neither of those, then don't waste your time with them. You know, so it's however you can connect to the topic, however you can be inspired by it. But in this case, it's truly about really knowing yourself before you know where you're going to end up. You have to know who you are. Because if you don't know that, then you don't know where you're going to go. So it's introspective first, and then it's extroverted because you're going to work for it.
One of my colleagues asked this question. Activism through music can only go so far. Why not enter politics?
Because I would have to lie, cheat, be corrupt, and negotiate. In any country. I mean, we always, it's very easy to be self-critical. As a part Kiwi, I'm used to that. Kiwis are very self-critical, right, Gus? And as Armenians, we're also very self-critical. It's a small nation thing that we always feel that we have to criticize ourselves more than everybody else. But I'll tell you, there's just as much corruption in the United States of America as there is in Armenia and Russia. It's just different. In the United States of America, if you want to buy someone off, you spend millions of dollars at a K Street lobbying firm, these beautiful, giant legal firms that are, with multiple last names attached to them. And you have an ex-congressman like Dick Gephardt from the Democratic Party, and you give that firm millions of dollars, and he goes into the halls of the US Senate and the US House of Representatives, and he talks to his buddies, and he says, the Turks, they're great allies. Let's not piss them off with this genocide resolution. That's corruption, okay? That's no different. It's legalized corruption. K Street lobbying altogether is legalized corruption in the US. Money in politics altogether is legalized corruption. So even though we're very self-critical, I'm critical of, wherever I am, because the truth is the truth. Justice is justice. There's no two ways about it.
Serj, I am very proud to be an Armenian. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't live in any other country. I'm sure you are as proud to be an Armenian. The question was, what makes you to be proud to be an Armenian? And why do you think we have this characteristic that we survive through thick and thin, we survive. We stand up after genocide, after many other events that has taken place in the history, but yet we manage to stand up and dust ourselves up and move on.
We're resilient fuckers. I am proud to be Armenian, although the word pride always makes me double think. Pride is usually, for a small country, it's okay to use the word pride, I think. For a large country, it could lead to nationalism over to kind of, I don't believe in, I'm honored to be an Armenian, more so than I'm proud to be Armenian. Because I'm honored of my roots. I know where I come from. I know who my people were. I know who my people are. So that makes me happy. And it also makes me feel like I have something to share outside of Armenia. And I don't live in Armenia. I live between New Zealand and the United States. And those are choices that I've made. Well, partial choices my parents made, but also choices that I've made. But, and again, it comes back to the culture of being able to share our culture. That's important to me.
Thank you. Speaking of parents, I want to move to the family. What is your definition of family? In a Armenian family, and I brought up two boys myself, we all tend to push our kids to be engineers and doctors and lawyers and such and so forth. So you became to be an international rock star. And what was the reaction from your parents?
First of all, I've thought about this deeply. people and races that have seen starvation that push their kids toward being professionals the most. Jews do it all the time. That's why all Jewish moms want their kids to be doctors and lawyers. Armenians do that as well. Now, being a musician, you know, when I was starting to do music, wasn't necessarily the best calling card for an Armenian parental figure, but I'm very lucky because my dad himself was a musician. And so I remember, and my dad's a musician that couldn't make it in music because he was born in Syria, he was born in Aleppo, and he had to work. His dad died when he was in 2nd grade, and he had to work to help support his mom. And so he was never able, and he loved playing, he played the oud and he sang, and he loved playing, but he couldn't afford to make it a full-time thing because he had to support his family, so he got into another field. So here was a dream that he had his whole life that he couldn't make true, that he couldn't, you know, realize. So when I started doing music, it was at a really tough economic time for our family. My dad had pretty much gone through the perfect American dream where you gain everything and then you lose it. That's the American dream, right? And so we were at a, you know, a very difficult time where all of us were working and we needed to work. And I had started a small software company to help out, and it was doing well. And so I was caught between these two poles. Should I let go of this, you know, income source to do music at a time when my vision says go for it, go for the music? Or should I be conservative and help the family? So one day I sat down with my dad at the breakfast table and I said, I have a conundrum that I want to talk to you about. And I said, I really want to do music. I'm doing music and I'm getting better at it. And, but I know we need the income. So how do we, you know, I don't know what to do. I'm caught between, you know, a rock and a hard place. And I remember, now I don't know what any other Armenian parent would say, but my dad goes, I'll be damned if you're going to give up on the dream that I had, that I couldn't achieve.
Azatay
so I grew up hearing him sing that, and I would sing that with him as I was growing up, which is why I wanted to cover it with him. And years ago, we decided to do a record for my dad, Serj Tankian, and he did a bunch of traditional Armenian songs, some Ashwagandha songs and whatnot, so we did it then. George shot that, actually. Good job, George.
Okay, so what was your childhood dream? Did you always want to be a musician?
I didn't really have a childhood dream. I didn't always want to be a musician. I started playing music in college when I was your age. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I went to Cal State Northridge and I studied business first, marketing. I got a bachelor's in marketing because I didn't, I was good at business. I was also interested in law at one time. I thought maybe I should be a lawyer. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. I think you'll appreciate it. I could if I wanted to. Oh yeah, you should see me read legal documents. I'm good. George knows. Well, okay, so I was working in the jewelry industry with my uncle for years after college, and learned a lot from him. I think you need to do many things in life to really kind of learn, I'm very thankful for that. I think had I just done music from day one, I would not be so appreciative of everything right now. Anyway, so I was working in the jewelry industry, and I knew that wasn't my calling, and I wanted to do something more. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll be a lawyer. I've read a lot of legal documents, I kind of, know what I'm doing, so I signed up for the LSAT in the US and went to these Kaplan classes to learn how to take the LSAT. LSAT is what you take to get into law school. So I remember driving after work all the way down, like an hour from, work, 2 hours from my house, wherever it was, to take these classes. And I would sit down with a big room of people, and they were so excited about law. Like, they were like, yeah, this, that. And I was like, I was like, why am I here? So I remember one night, I was driving home, it was raining, and I was really upset because I had gone to one of these classes, and I just hated the fact that everyone wanted to be a lawyer, and I was there, and I'm like, what am I doing there? And it hit me. That's when I decided to do music, actually. It hit me that I don't want to be, I literally I hit the brakes in the middle of the road while it was raining, skid a little, and I go, I don't want to be a fucking lawyer, I want to do music.
Brings me to another question. Who's your inspired leader? Who are you inspired by?
Lennon, of course. Back there.
Is there someone in particular you follow or any?
Many people throughout history. I've always been a fan of those that have fought for the underdog, whether it's Che Guevara or Gandhi or people that have kind of sacrificed their own life for the universal good, for the majority. There's many of those figures in history, including Simon Bolivar. And, Franklin Roosevelt in U.S. history. Just a lot of good people that you look at their lives and you see the type of limitations that they had to deal with and the impediments they had to deal with and how they overcame them for a greater good. That is what inspires me.
Someone asked, what is your favorite Armenian food?
I don't eat a lot of meat, so that kind of gets rid of a lot of it. I don't know if that's something. What is my favorite Armenian food is confusing because, there's a lot of, I was born in Beirut, and what Lebanese Armenian consider Armenian food is different than what's Armenian food in Armenia. It's different than what Fars guys consider Armenian food. I have no fucking clue what Armenian food is anymore. But I'm eating it. Again, I don't know if it's Armenian. Manta, my grandmother used to make some good manta. But I eat the vegetarian version. There's a place in LA that makes it with spinach. It's awesome. It's called manti, actually.
So on a little bit more serious side, somebody asked, what is your vision of future?
That reminds me, years ago I had the honor of meeting the Dalai Lama, and I had two questions to ask him for this TV, for this film that they're making. And my second question was, what is next? I said, if we make the assumption that civilization is over as we know it, what's next? And he's like, he looked at me like, thanks, bro. I've got like 2 minutes to answer this question before my speech at Penn State. So that's what I'm feeling right now. What is the future of Armenia? You are the future of Armenia. This is the future of Armenia. Despite what you think are limitations, if you really go beyond, you know, if you really mark your limitations, you know, if you want to jump over this table and you come and you measure how tall the table is, you know you can jump it, you know. Limitations just make a nation stronger. So you are the future. It is up to you to really be the next leaders of this country, and I'm depending on you to do the job well.
What is your secret for success?
Success is measured by the beholder. So, you know, had I not sold millions of records and people know me around the world but made incredible music, would I still consider myself a success? I would. So, I think the secrets of success is, number one, following your vision to the T. And working hard at it, you know. There's a theory, this writer Malcolm Gladwell, I've read a bunch of his books, 10,000 hours. Theory about 10,000 hours. If you spend 10,000 hours doing what you love, you'll be a fucking pro, you know? It's a no-brainer. So it's really following your vision, knowing your vision first. Knowing your vision first. It's hard. At your age, I had no clue. You know? How do you know? How do you know you're studying the right thing?
You don't.
You don't. You know? Everyone tells you, when you enter university, everyone tells you to pick a major. It's like, all right, yeah. At a time in life where you have no clue. But that's why you have to study a lot of general topics, so that you kind of get a little, you know, a little bit of everything, a taste of everything, like a tapas platter of education. And eventually, something will stick out that you really want to do. Or it might not. It might come later, like it did with me.
Would System of a Down be open to the idea of performing with Turkish bands that have recognized the Armenian genocide? The next question is, have you ever been invited to Turkey to perform?
System of a Down, I don't think System of a Down would ever have a problem performing with any other band, Turkish or non-Turkish, that respects what our grandparents went through, what our forefathers went through. That's not an issue at all. In fact, the guys are, we have a lot of fans in Turkey. And I'll tell you an interesting story that I've told before. Years ago, we suspect the Turkish government planted lies in the media in Turkey, saying things like, System of a Down would burn Turkish flags at their concerts, or would put stuff on their tickets saying, no dogs or Turks allowed, things like that, horrible, offensive stuff. We've never done any of that. Why would we? How could we be a professional band around the world and do stuff like that? So we put something on our website saying there are, misinformation stemming from Turkish media. We want all our fans around the world to know that they are lies, blatant lies. We don't appreciate it, we find it offensive. And the question is, why are they trying to vilify us in Turkey? Our message must be getting through. Now, our fans in Turkey were the ones that wrote to all of the Turkish papers and protected System of a Down. They're the ones. I'll never forget that. And we were going to play in Turkey on this tour. We were planning on having a date in Istanbul. The promoter told us that he would have to, he said, because you're a System of a Down, we have to go and get special permission from the Prime Minister's office. And I said, we said, as a band, our agent said, okay. And after a couple of months, the Prime Minister had just been sworn in, the new one, Davutoglu. And so we didn't hear back for a few months, and we just kind of kept on planning the rest of the tour and put it aside because we hadn't heard back. But I would like to one day go play in Turkey. Yeah.
Before I came in, I had a handwritten question from Serj and Inga. I cannot read your handwriting. If you are here, please come on up and ask the question.
Oh no.
Let him sign on the t-shirts.
societies.
Well,
Beautiful. Good job, guys.
to conclude this, Serj, if you don't mind, my sons, both Andrew and Renee, they both breathe and live through you. So I just wanted you to know that. So Andrew wrote something and he asked me truly to read it for you. And if you don't mind, I would like to share. He said, "Dear Serj, first and foremost, we would like to thank you for stopping by in Yerevan. Just stop by. I say we because I speak on behalf of all the people you continue to inspire. We are all grateful for the influence you've had on our lives and the major role you have played throughout the years, both on stage and in your advocacy. You have always guided our vessel in the right direction, and it's created a priceless reminder to us about the struggles and triumph we've gone through as a nation, which almost ceased to exist. This country was born with strength, it thrives on strength, and will continue to flourish with strength. Why? Because without great leaders, we would never have this great nation. Thank you for being one of the greatest leaders this nation have ever seen. The excitement you have given to students at the AUA will be cherished forever. The youth of this country are counting down hour by hour, minute by minute for the show at the Republic Square. We love you.
Thank you, Andrew. We got, and I really appreciate it. The only thing I have to say about that is I'm not a leader. I'm one of you. I'm just you. That's it.
On behalf of AUA community, our students, faculty, alumni, staff, everyone, thanks to my volunteers, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude for you to be here. I would like to ask our president to come and present you with some gifts.
Wow.
To take home.
I have a request. But before that, thank you for explaining to our students why they have to take a good dose of general education course.
That's all he got out of it.
Just a little information about it. We have about 1,200 students, but 10% are international students from 16 different countries. Many of them diaspora and Armenian, but we are very proud to have some non-Armenians from different countries, India, Cameroon, and other places. We like to have more students from abroad. We want Armenia to be a destination for education. And this institution can be the place where the students go to get top quality education. You can influence beyond. So when you go abroad, when you have a chance, tell them about our university. Tell them that we have very good programs. Fantastic students, they can come and join them.
I'd be happy.
We have a few gifts for you. This one is for your entire band, actually.
Wow.
You signed T-shirts
Wow,
for
thank
our
you.
students. These are signed T-shirts for you and your band members.
Thank you, guys.
And there's also a package of information about the university. I have seen that video of you with your father, and I have seen there's a love affair between you and your father that comes through very nicely. My father was not a musician, but he was an artist, a very famous one in Iran. And so I published, my relationship with my father is very similar to yours. I feel that emotion that is there. And so I published a book about my father, and you have a copy of that book. I hope you will enjoy it.
Please stay, be seated. Please be seated. Please do not leave the auditorium, please. Thank you.
Your visit here, a certificate of appreciation on our part for a visit, for inspiring our students, and we hope you will always remember, and please come back.
We also have gifts. Yeah.